Hello, golf fanatics and degenerates. It's iPod Todd here, bringing you another expert model on the Fantasy Fanatics. This week, the European Tour is wrapping up its desert swing with the Omega Dubai Desert Classic. It takes place at the Emirates Golf Club. It's a par 72, and the field is rather weak. Before we jump into this week's model, let's take a quick glance at last week and see how things wrapped up on tour. Jiang Wang beat Joachim Lagerin and Jaco Van Ziel in the playoffs. It was a really exciting finish. If you read my article last week, I mentioned that this tournament, after the cut is made, it seems to be the most competitors closest to the leader. At one time, I think like half the field was within 5 shots or so. So it ended up being a really good tournament. My teams didn't fare so well. I had Ricardo, Gouvier, and Thong Jaidi. Both were 4 under on Friday. Ended up missing the cut. I pretty much took care of my cash games. But a lot of the players in the model did well. We actually had 6 guys finish in the top 6. So that finish ended up pretty good. Hopefully some of you out there took advantage of that. I was lucky enough to finish 29th and drive the green, so made up for my miscues here on the European Tour. So let's turn it around this week. Jumping into the model, it's built using a weighted average of key stats, recent form, and course history. This week's players can take advantage of the course if they excel in these key areas. And it's going to be birdie or better, driving distance, and greens and regulations. Those are going to be my 3 main stats. I'm going to throw the 2 putting stats in again this week. Take a look at my article. These greens can run as fast as 13 and a half on the stent meter. So it could, the best putters could show up this week. And then again, par 5 scoring. One unique thing about this course is there 3 back on the back 9. There are 3 par 5s, so players can easily catch up. 1 or 2 eagles, a birdie. It could be 5 strokes gained really quickly. The golf course overall, players have said it's tough but fair. It's tree lined but exposed to the wind, and it looks like there's going to be some wind on Thursday afternoon. So take that into account when you're setting up your lineups. Maybe have a few Thursday AM only. Getting into the model here, let's take a look at the core players, or I like to call them greenies. And top of the model, number 1 ranked, is going to be Stenson. He's always going to champion golfer of the year. Hits a lot of greens. Plays the par 5 well. Always, nice birdie better percentage. Has a good desert swing record. Second, I've been kicking this one back and forth between a caution or a secondary and a core greenie. That's going to be Sergio Garcia. He's weighted a little low here. This my model here is not picking up his 11th place finish at the Singapore Open a few weeks back, so I think that's weighing him down a little bit. But I mean, birdie or better, driving distance, greens and regulation, par 5, he's got all that. Third is going to be Tyrrell Hatton. Breakout year last year. He plays well in the wind. 8,800. I think it's a very good price. He'll probably find his way into my cash lineups. And the fourth one, my core player, is going to be Martin Keimer. He was talked up 2 weeks ago, and I finished 4th. Did really well. Got caught. He was actually leading Sunday at the front 9. Got caught by Tommy Fleetwood. But I don't have any reason to think he won't be back. Stenson, Hatton, both have and Sergio both have an early Thursday tee time, so they all 3 can get off the hot start. And then Keimer, he we'll just see how the weather plays out. But I wouldn't worry too much about it. I think something does happen. He struggles. He'll grind back on Friday for you. Off to the secondary, or I kind of call them caution players. They're just right there on the edge of being a core player. Just might be one or two things you just want to take a little bit of lighter ownership of. So up there, it's going to be RCB. It's weird. He's ranked 6th in the course history here, but he has a win in a second. So personally, I would just rank him first. Played well last week, finishing 6th. We were a little concerned about we heard maybe a little bit of back tightness, might not play as well, but turned it around on Sunday. Dropped down below. We got Lee Westwood, grinder. He's gonna have a PM Thursday tee time, but he's one of those players. He might 1 or 2 over on that Thursday. He's gonna grind back on that Friday and make that cut. Take a look at my article. I wrote him up this week. A little bit further down, you got Chris Wood and Thomas Peters. These are 2 guys that came on last year, on the European Tour, younger guys. Peters, can bomb it out there, no problem taking him. Good putting stats. You saw the excitement he generated in the Ryder Cup. And, Wood was injured late last season, but he seems to be back. Played well last week in his return trip off the layoff for a T11. A little bit below, Peter Hansen. Hansen has 2 back-to-back top 20s on the Desert Swing, so I wouldn't put it past him to get another one. You got Ross Fisher. He's 5 for 6 over the course, 19th on the opening leg of the Desert Swing. Took the week off last week. Hopefully work on that putting. If he could putt a little better, he might have double-digit victories on the European Tour. Last guy I want to talk about is Peter Uihlein, the American. He seems to be fitting the course rather well this week. Decent driving distance, birdie or better, great putting stats. He was injured a lot last year, but since he's been back, he's 3 for 3. 13th previous here in 2015. Withdrew last year. He had an injury-plagued season. Not sure what the withdrawal was about last year, but he didn't have many starts on tour. So at one time he was number 1 ranked amateur in the world. So you see these young guys winning. He's got to be thinking, hey, I got 1 victory on the European Tour. Let's make a big splash somewhere. Back up to the top. Let's discuss the flyers or the sprinkles. And one of the guys up here, 10-5, Bernd Wiesberger. I mentioned last week he's been playing a lot, and he doesn't win a lot, and the price is just too high for me. So I'm just gonna maybe toss him in 1 or 2 lineups, see if he comes back to the winner's circle this week, or he could just falter and fall off before taking a break here. Jian Wang, last week's winner. Why not take a chance? He won back-to-back last year. Could happen again. Another young player that's coming on strong. Tommy Fleetwood won the first event on the Desert Swing. Missed the cut last week, but a lot of the young guys do that. It's just winning so new, and I know he's had a few other victories on tour, but I believe it was like 4 or 5 years since he had one. So confidence could just be down. Go through sky high the next week and get off to a bad start and just miss the cut. That can easily be forgiven. Andy Sullivan, the Englishman, seems to play well. In the wind, have no problem plugging him in here. 2-2 last year. Thomas Aiken, back from the PGA Tour here. He lost his card last year. South African. Has started the year off on fire. 3 for 3, 4th, 13th, and a 5th. Not the longest hitter, but hits just about every green that he's got a chance to make. Look for him to be able to score a little bit here. Jordan L. Smith, the rookie, played really well last week. Finished in same place as Rafael Cabarabello, T6. You got Cole Sars, another Belgian that can bomb it out there. Thorburn Olsen, some of his best tournaments have been in the desert. No problem with the sprinkle. Juice Luton, the Dutchman. Take a chance with him. 7,800 is a decent price. Danny Willett, he really kind of fallen off here. When the Europeans start on DraftKings, I think it was not too long after the Masters, and he was 11,000 every week, 10,000. 7,800. Have no problem plugging him in. Hasn't played, missed the cut first part of the desert swing, but won last year. Could be building up some confidence to do it again this year. Last guy we'll talk about is the big cat, Tiger Woods. He's won in the desert a lot, and this is one of the course. This course accuracy is not going to matter, so he could have the right miss, he could have the left miss. He's still going to be able to take a shot at a lot of these holes. Hopefully, get the putter working. Make some. He made a lot of par-saving putts last week. I watched a lot of his play. It's about all they showed. If Phil wasn't playing on TV, then they showed Tiger. But he made a lot of par-saving putts. So if he can just make some of those into birdies this week, he really could show up here. That's about it for me this week. Follow me at on Twitter, iPod Todd S. Take a look at my article on the Fantasy Fanatics and the rest of the boys. They, everyone's putting out really good work. You got the Waste Management Open coming up this week, right before the Super Bowl. That was a really exciting tournament last year, and I have no doubt it'll be another exciting one, especially with the DK pricing. So, if you're concerned about that, definitely jump in the European. And let's get these filled up early so we can get these prize pools growing. If I don't win the GPP this week, I hope one of you guys do. Good luck.